Okay, so went to pick this up yesterday. This under here, hopefully, is a Apple Power Mac G3 Desktop. So it's sold as non-working. I've got it for a very reasonable price on eBay. One of the main reasons I wanted to get it actually was because of this adapter. I don't have one of these. This allows you to use normal VGA monitors if they're multi-sync with the Apple proprietary video out D15. So getting that, these aren't cheap on their own. So for the price of a whole computer, I picked up one of these little gadgets. Hopefully it's still working. It tells you on the back which modes it supports. Don't know how well you can see that. And if you've got a multi-sync monitor, then you can connect them up to your Apple devices. So that was really useful. That's the thing that actually drew me to this whole computer. As you can see, it does come with some accessories. There's a Apple keyboard, quite yellow, as a lot of them are. So this is the Apple design keyboard. This is ADB, I'm guessing, not USB. Let's have a look. As you can see, it's literally just a pile of stuff. This is how I got it. So yeah, so this is an ADB keyboard. Not a bad keyboard. Okay feel. Doesn't feel mechanical. I suspect that's a dome keyboard, but pretty decent keyboard. So we should put that to one side. So I don't know if this is working at all. Also got here an Apple desktop bus mouse, so ADB. Okay, so as per usual, Apple mice have short leads on them. This is because they typically plug in, the ADB ones anyway, plug into the keyboard, not into the actual main unit. Bit of rubber. I'm guessing that's a foot off the bottom because it seems to be sliding around very easily. So another cable here, which doesn't appear to go anywhere. So as you can see, it's got a different pin out to the ADB. So that's a serial cable. So that would have been plugged into a modem or printer at some point in the past. Could have been used for Apple Talk, I believe, as well. I've never done any Apple Talk, so we need to do a video about that one day. But there you go, there's a serial cable. So here's a power lead with an IEC connector on it. There's an awful lot of beigeness going on here. So Apple, I mean, I've got mixed feelings about Apple. I do like their industrial design. I mean, beige is not the most original colour. That was another foot. But, you know, if you look at how they put their computers together, you can see why they were more expensive than the sort of PC equivalent at the time. Here we have a lead with, I haven't counted them, but I'm guessing there's going to be 25 pins on there, in which case this is probably a SCSI cable, given that Macs don't have parallel printer ports. So I'm guessing that's a SCSI cable. I'll check that out later. Apples at this time still were using SCSI rather than IDE for their internal hard drives, and they often had SCSI interfaces ports on the back. So obviously this has had a monitor on it at some point with a round base. Is that significant? Do many of the Mac monitors have a round base? Don't know. Otherwise the condition is okay. I noticed the back panels are a little bit loose. I suspect this has been opened up at some point. But the top panel's okay. Side panel's okay. There's some dust here in the vents, as you would expect from a potentially working machine. Same on this side. No breaks or cracks. And the front. The other thing that appealed to me is the fact it's got a zip drive in it. Now, I've heard other people say that every zip drive they've ever had in an Apple Power PC was never working at the time they got it secondhand. So I'd be interested to see if that is working. It's very dusty in the entrance. Obviously, you've got the floppy DVD, and up here somewhere there's going to be a hard drive as well. I had a tower version of this about 10 years ago. I'd never really owned an Apple macOS computer, so I bought a second-hand G3 tower to sort of try it out. I'd always been in the Windows and Intel world, and I wasn't that impressed, to be honest, at the time. I found it a bit clunky. So I didn't keep it. I kept it for about a year, didn't get much use out of it, and sold it on. Obviously now I wish I'd kept it. They're a bit collectible. This is the desktop version based on the 7300 case. So it's kind of a very different design because it's a legacy case rather than the G3 tower, which was a bit more of an interesting design. But anyway, let's see if we can get this open, see what's inside. So there should be some clips here on the bottom that if you lift up, this should slide forward. There we go. All right, interesting. I'm saying interesting because this RF shield is obviously not where it's supposed to be. It looks like it's the one that should be in front of the floppy drive. Interesting also, there should be a hard drive here, and there isn't. Not only is there not a hard drive there, there's no caddy and no cable. Okay, so that's slightly disappointing, but one of those things when you buy second hand. So the person I bought it off didn't know anything about Apple's. I didn't ask him how he got it, but obviously somebody's been inside here. There's a bit of corrosion here on the RF shield for the second lower set of drive bays, but I can't see any damage from a water spill. There's a little bit of corrosion here. I think that's just age-related oxidization. Okay, so no hard drive. Floppy drive is present and correct. Don't know if it's working or not. So we should be able to get these out, this tray, by putting on these two tabs here. And then it should just slide forward, I believe. I've not done this before. Let's take this second RF shield off. It's being a bit reluctant. Was that because of the oxidization, or is there something else going on? Not there yet. So yes, that's a little bit corroded. Probably through age or being stored somewhere that isn't 100% dry, perhaps a little bit humid. That was the top one. It's in slightly better condition, interestingly, even though it's obviously the same age. Maybe it came out of different factories, different coatings. So this drive sled is now thinking about moving forward. So this side is definitely out. This side's being a bit stiff. And as with all things of about this age, there's a good chance we could break things, plastic things, if we're not careful. So let's use a plastic spudger just to loosen this. There we go. All right. So that's the first drive tray. Let's unplug the floppy drive cable. So there's a bit of dust around in the mechanism in the drive, but hopefully that still works. There's another one of those. So maybe these aren't feet. Okay, let's put that to one side. So here we've got the zip drive, and I think this isn't a tappy, is it, rather than SCSI? But let's get it out. So optical drives are Sony units, Apple branded, master and slave cable select. So this is an IDE optical drive rather than the SCSI, and that probably means this is IDE as well. So how do we get to the second set of sleds? Don't know. Let's open this up. So the other thing you do is you can lift this out, and that forms a foot for when this opens up, and then you can open this up to access the expansion ports. So there's a little clip there. How does this come out? Again, I don't want to break into the plastics if I can help it. So this is more difficult than I was expecting, so I'm guessing I'm doing this bit wrong. Okay, we'll come back to that. I know this is the slider for opening up this. In fact, let's do that now. So if we slide this way, this whole unit should flop out and stand on this foot. Oh, there's another one here. No, we definitely need to get this off first. It's not clear. This end is loose. This end looks like it tucks under here. Looks like you have to push it back slightly. Yeah, there we go. So that opens up like that. And apparently these hinges break quite regularly. This one seems to be intact, which is nice. Okay, and we get a first view of what was potentially going to be our main problem. PRAM battery. I can't see from here whether it's leaked. So we're going to have to take that out and have a bit of a closer look. But that's the fear with these old Macs. I've got another video coming up which you'll see what I mean. So, let's see if we can get this open now. So this should just slide over. Stand on that foot again, that might break, so let's be cautious. There we go. Okay, so there is a hard drive in this unit. It's not where I was expecting it to be. It's down here in the floor. And there's a Quantum branded unit with an Apple logo on, so it's probably the original. It's a Quantum Fireball. And does it say 6 gigabytes? Okay, so that's a usable amount of space. Don't know if it works, obviously. This is kind of the age, so the earlier ones, the ones that are sub 1 gig, I generally find 50-50 chance of them working. But the later ones, the later SCSI ones tend to still be going, in my experience. But we will find out shortly. We don't even know if this computer is going to power on. I can see the PRAM battery a little bit easier now. Just going to get a screwdriver so we can pop that open. I can't see any corrosion, but I'm not 100% sure. It's looking all right. It's not looking too bad. Let's get this off. No corrosion on that end. No corrosion on that end. Risk of fire or explosion. So date code on here is 0998, so from 1998. That's probably the original PRAM battery then, isn't it? Have we got any other date codes anywhere in here? 21st September 1998, written on the case. So yeah, so that's definitely the original PRAM battery. We've been very lucky that that hasn't leaked. I can't see any corrosion on the motherboard in the immediate area. So that's really nice. Okay, good. Let's just get some extra light on this. And then we can see inside this case a little bit easier. So what have we got? Across here we've got the back panel. Got some connectors for the drives that are up on the upper drive sled. Got the Power PC G3 processor, which comes on a kind of a card. It goes into a socket, but as you can see, it's got some cache chips sticking out the side. Relatively small heatsink. Got the hard drive. Motherboard's got 3 RAM slots, one of which fills. Shall we see what it is? No branding on this side. Hyundai branding on this side. Who knows if it's the original? It's not clear. 64. I can't decode that in my head, so I don't know what capacity that is. I'm guessing it's going to be around 64 megabytes, but we shall find out. The motherboard's not totally clean, but it's not terrible. There's not a lot of dust on it. So that's good. There's a slot here. I'm not sure what that is. It could be the ROM, or it could be a cache card, but because there's cache on the processor, I don't think it's a cache card. It's probably the ROMs. Apple went through a phase of putting ROMs on cards rather than socketed ROMs. Just presumably when they went to surface mount other components on the motherboard. I'm guessing this is a VRAM upgrade for the ATI Rage Pro chip, which is here in the corner. And then here we've got a daughter card add-in, and this appears to be some kind of audio in and out. I believe you can get different daughter cards for these. Personality cards, I think they're called. And then you've got 3 PCI slots, all of which are empty. So one thing this doesn't have is USB, I think. So we could add a USB PCI card potentially, depending on what operating system we install on here. What else have we got on here? Connectors for the drives, as I said. Power from the power supply. Power supply fan looks clean. So it's possible, although this is a bit grubby from being stored, it's possible this has not actually had a lot of useful life, as in it wasn't on for a lot of hours. I'd expect that fan to be a little bit more grubby if it was. Okay, so we know what's in here. We know it's probably safe. I can't remember whether these will boot without a PRAM battery, but I haven't got one I can put in straight away. So we're going to leave it empty. I presume that's some kind of voltage regulator for the CPU. Not 100% sure on that, but it looks like a power circuitry. On a switch down here. Speaker is here again on an easy removable clip. So we've got all the components we need. We've got RAM, we've got a hard drive, we've got some optical drives to boot off if needed, if this drive isn't working. So let's try turning it on. Let's put it all back together. So I'm going to put that down first. Clip these into place. So this one, this clips in 2 different places. There's a clip here which is that direction, and there's a clip here which is this direction. So that goes back in like that. Fold away the foot, and let's try and get this top sled back in. So obviously this is room for an additional hard drive. Didn't see any spare connectors on the motherboard, but maybe it's possible as if there's room in this. Can't see a cutout to pass a cable up, but it may be possible to put another SCSI drive in here. So let's see if we can get this back in. So there's some guides here on both sides to make sure this goes in the right place, but because everything's a bit dusty, it's a little bit finicky. And I'm being fairly careful because I don't want to break the plastics, as previously mentioned. There we go. And then when it goes all the way back, there's these little keyed components here to push it into. Oh, and at the front as well, there's some little slides that go in here. It's all a bit stiff. There we go. Lovely. Let's reconnect the floppy, which I can't see from this angle, so I'm just going to turn it around. So there we have it. So I'm going to leave the cover off. I put the RF shields back on. For now, I'm going to leave them off. And we'll see if we can get this thing powered on. Haven't turned it over. Let's turn it over just to see if... So yes. So these little rubber things are obviously the feet. The fact they're all missing is a bit weird. I wonder if somebody took those off thinking they could get into the case through the bottom. Maybe. Maybe. Alright, I'm going to leave the cover off. Am I? Yeah, I'm going to leave the cover off. We will find a monitor to use. We've got everything else we need. We've got all the accessories. So we've got a keyboard and mouse. Don't know if they're working. We don't know if the PC's, the Apple itself's working. So let's find out. Don't need the SCSI cable. Don't need the serial cable. Okay, so I've contradicted myself already. Oh no, I haven't. I was trying to find where the mouse plugs in, but it does plug in here underneath. For a minute I thought I got it wrong. There we go. Mouse and keyboard. So on the rear here, we haven't really looked at the I/O, so let's do that now. So we've got the power in and power pass through. This is the personality card. This has got a microphone in and speakers out. There's your monitor port. You've got your 2 serial ports. It's got built-in networking. So I think the G3 was one of the earliest ones to have built-in networking. I'm guessing that's 10 megabits. Might be 100. And here's your ADB. And then here's the external SCSI, looking a little bit corroded. So that's interesting. But let's plug the ADB in. Now we're going to need a monitor. So we have got this little adapter so I can use anything. But let's see if we've got something that's a bit more age appropriate. Okay, so what I've done is I've teamed this up with an Apple 12-inch RGB monitor. This is actually going to be a double test because this monitor failed recently and somebody I know has recapped it for me. I haven't tested it since, so I don't actually know that this monitor works, although I've been told it is working. And we don't know if the G3 is working, so it's going to be a bit of a double test. Let's turn the monitor on. Fire extinguisher is nearby. Okay, so I've got a good power supply decalcing sound. That's reassuring. Lights come on. No signal yet, but let's press the power on the G3. Nothing. Okay, so that's disappointing. Let me just check that's in. Yeah, so definitely seems to be no power coming from the G3. Could be the fuse in the lead, haven't tried that. Could be the power supply, could be something wrong with the switch. Let me just check. Power switch is connected internally. There was one thing I disconnected, wasn't there? Let me just see if I have left it disconnected. have, now I don't know what it is, it goes to the tray above. It's more like to be audio from the CD drive than anything else, I think. I don't think it's anything to do with power. But let's just try that again. Power lead's definitely in. This is the lead that was supplied with the computer, so I don't know if it's a good lead or not. Aha! We have power, we have a chime, and we have a video signal, so the monitor works. That's nice. So we're about to find out. That's the hard drive spinning up. We're about to find out whether it's working. Welcome to macOS. So I'm guessing that's macOS 8. But let's find out. Let's have a quick look on every Mac just to see what the G3 came with originally. Oh, I missed that. What was that? Something appeared on the screen. It's so weird seeing it in colour. All the Macs I've been looking at recently have all been black and white, so it's very nice to see a colour display. So, college. Somebody had a colour style writer attached to this, which is why there was a serial cable. Let me zoom in on the monitor a little bit more. Now we know that now we know the actual computer's working. So, not sure what that is, but it's got a Adobe type logo on it. I'm told of a stylus. Not sure what any of these are, but that's okay. Internet preferences damaged, okay. So basically the hard drive's working, which is the most important thing. Let's just see what we have. Now the mouse is a little bit flaky. And obviously it was last attached to a bigger monitor because it's popped it off screen. Yeah, so this mouse is not working very well at all. But we can see that it is Mac OS something or other. So the up and down isn't working on that mouse. Let's get another one. So I have another mouse. See there on the camera. Exactly the same model. This is the original one, which is a bit dirtier and grubbier. Let's put the cleaner one in. Let's see if that works any better. Those of you that grew up in the age of laser mice or LED mice will not know the pain of the mice that have a little ball on the bottom. They're always clogging up and not working correctly. Let's unplug the dodgy mouse and plug in this mouse. I think this is a good mouse. Got a few of these, so hopefully I picked up the one that is working. That only seems to be working a bit smoother. So here we go. So as predicted, it's Mac OS 8, 8.1 specifically, 64 megs of RAM. We were a good guess with the memory stick. So that's all good. So there's a whole load of things installed. AOL 5, look at that, very nice. I could use my dial-up modem and we can get online with AOL. Apple CD audio player. So there is a CD drive in this computer. We're going to look at that in a moment. Got a jigsaw puzzle or some games. What else we got in here? Okay, so basically there's a few things in there that which you'd expect. Control panel. straightforward stuff. Not sure what OpenDoc is. Let's have a bit. Something a bit more detailed. So the hard drive just went up again. I don't know if you heard that. Apple Macintosh G3, very good. 8.1 for the operating system. It's a G3 at 300 megahertz. I can't scroll down to the bottom. There's no scroll bar, so can you use a keyboard modifier to change that, like you can in Linux? Nope. Linux. So basically, we have got a working G3, which is really, really nice. It's got 8.1 on. It's still got the original install by the looks of it. What was the last date on here? 2003. 2003. So it looks like it was made in '98 and used through till 2003, and then it was presumably retired as a spare machine or something. But let's have a look and see what's on here. So we've got Illustrator, got to Photoshop, AOL, as previously mentioned. Some drawings. So whoever was using this computer was using it from a design point of view, whether it's designing electronics, buildings, structures, don't know, although there's a picture of a boat here, but I think that's just a bitmap, so I don't think it's a boat builder. Obviously had an Epson printer at some point, or maybe a scanner, maybe an Epson scanner. Portfolio and pre-flight, so basically the word doing some publishing by the looks of it. Japanese fonts, I don't know if that's a normal OS install, whether this person had some dealing with the Far East. Page Manager. I think, is that a scanning and archiving tool? Quark Express. Okay, so this person was definitely doing publishing of some kind. And very sensibly they had, I thought it was ViraScan, but it's VistaScan. So that's obviously some scanning software. I thought it was ViraScan in there for a minute. Some fonts. So basically it looks like this person was using this actively for publishing of something, I don't know what, to actual work. So anyway, cubicle drawing, that sounds a bit worky. Okay, we fit toilets, very good. So it looks like there are some documents on here still, but it looks like maybe this person was doing interior design or architecture stuff. So that's interesting. What we don't know is whether we've got the G3 working. We don't know any of the floppy or optical drives work. So should we have a quick look at that? Let's put in a blank floppy. That doesn't sound very rough. Very healthy. It sounds pretty rough. So it's a PC formatted disk. So it's saying, do we want to format it? Yes, please. Let's initialize it and see what happens. That'll still tell us whether the drive's working. No. The disk is locked. Oh, okay. It has got a write protect tab on it. Correct. Well done. This one hasn't. So, in the interest of safety, I'm not going to write over the one that's write protected. It's obviously write protected for a reason. Let's try another one. Okay, it's making all the right noises. Disk initialization failed. Okay, so maybe the drive needs a service. It went through all the motions, but then couldn't verify it at the end. So maybe that needs a little bit of a clean out, but the majority of the part of it works. It sounded like the head was moving around, it sounds like the motor was spinning, so that's all reassuring. Optical drive next. So I've got no eject on the manual eject. Have I got an eject on the keyboard? No, that's the power button. I want to power down. Is there an eject on the keyboard? Not obviously. So the optical drive isn't opening and closing using the button on the front. Okay, which means it's probably not working. It does have power. I can see that. So I'm not sure if that's under software control that it's not opening, but it shouldn't be because there's nothing mounted on the desktop. So floppy not working, optical drive questionable. What about the zip drive? So I do have some zip disks. So we've got a zip 100 here. Let's see if this drive is going to kill it. Okay, it's making all the right noises. And it has mounted it. Okay, cool. So it's worked in that sense. Let's see if we can copy anything to it. Let's copy this picture. Can we read it off there? We can. Okay, so basically the optical drive not working, but the zip is, which apparently is a little bit unusual for machines this age. Do you eject zip drives the same way as you do? You do. Excellent. There you go. So 1 out of 3 drives is working plus the hard drive. So let's call it 50-50. So here we have a nice working G3. I'm going to put it back together. We do need to clean it, and we need to service those drives to find out why they're not working. I'm going to debate what we're going to do with this original Mac OS install. What I generally like to do is wipe them, because people don't want their personal data winding up on YouTube. So although it has got some cool software on there, I think we are going to have to wipe that. But there's a CD-ROM control. There is an eject button. Okay. I take it back. It's working. So the optical drive just popped out, and it has got a disk in it. Epson stylus software. So basically, this person obviously did have an Epson printer. So it wasn't showing on the desktop. So does macOS handle optical drives differently to OS 8? Does it handle optical drives differently to OS? Oh, okay. So it was mounted on the desktop. You didn't recognise it because it wasn't showing it as a CD icon. It's showing it as an installer icon. But there you go. There's the optical drive mounted. So the optical drive does work. Very nice. So it's only that floppy that's questionable, but it could have been the floppy disk, I suppose. Brilliant. Okay, so we have pretty much a fully functioning G3. If we can boot off the optical drive, then reinstalling software is going to be very, very easy. If we can't, if we have to use the floppy drive, then we may have to service that. The whole thing needs a clean anyway, but it does look like we have a fully functioning Apple G3, and also, very gratifying, we also have a fully repaired Apple 12-inch RGB monitor. So that was recapped by somebody I know as part of a deal I did with him with some other hardware. So that's really nice to have that back. That came off my LC3, which is also currently being recapped, and I'll be looking forward to putting those two things back together because aesthetically they just look great together. I do have other Apple monitors that I can use with this G3. This is a little bit on the small side, and because I've got the adapter of course I can use any multi-sync monitor, including some very modern displays. So, a success. Worth a trip to go and collect this. The seller wasn't prepared to post it for obvious reasons, but I'm very happy with that. We'll call the video there. We'll make another video about servicing the rest of it and cleaning it, and perhaps reinstalling macOS on it. And what I'll need to do is work out what was the original that came with this G3, what's the highest we can go, and do we install 922 on it, for example, which is kind of like the easy option, or do we install something more like 8.1 to make it more time appropriate. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. We're going to call it there, and we'll see you on the next time when we're doing some more work on this machine.